We want to bring in CBS's Jericka Duncan, who was actually inside the courtroom as all this was going down. Jericka, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that, when Bill Cosby walked in that courtroom, he didn't have much to say. Like we've seen before, he pretty much maintained his cool throughout the process. But for the first time, we really saw his defense, as Gloria Allred mentioned, give that vigorous defense in support of Bill Cosby, yelling at one point, urging the judge to stop this in terms of the idea of somebody being held accountable for something that was alleged to have been done over a decade ago. But at the end of the day, as you just heard from District Attorney Kevin Steele, the judge found that there was enough evidence for this to go to trial. A trial date has not been set yet, but of course that is the next step for Bill Cosby, who's now facing, again, up to 10 years behind bars if convicted of that aggravated indecent assault charge.
Jericka, was this a surprise going into the court today? Did people anticipate this to happen, or was it kind of uncertain?
I think it's always uncertain. You never know which way the judge is going to sway or move, if you will. There's been so much public attention, not only on this case, but obviously the dozens of other women who have alleged that Bill Cosby sexually assaulted them, some going back to the 1960s. So I think there is a little bit of pressure there because there is enough information, according to the district attorney and according to the judge, to move this further to see what other elements might come out in terms of convicting Bill Cosby. But I think in general, when you look at the amount of people that are out here, those who support Bill Cosby, those who don't, and even the media presence, it's obvious that this is something people are interested in knowing about and have been following from the very beginning, when all of this really kind of started to take fold about 2 years ago.
Jericka, it's my understanding this is the only criminal crime against Bill Cosby that he's actually being charged with. What does this mean for the some 50-plus accusers? We heard from Gloria Allred. She doesn't represent anyone in this particular case, but she does represent many of the other women who have put forward allegations. What does this specific ruling today mean for all those women who have tried to get their case forward, but time has lapsed for many of them and they're not able to do that?
I think anybody who has been following this story and knows that these women want some sort of vindication, whether it's monetarily or whether it's to see Bill Cosby behind bars. So this is definitely a victory in their eyes because, as you mentioned, this is the only case where Bill Cosby has been charged criminally. Now, there are other cases, other civil lawsuits that he's facing in Massachusetts, which we've been covering, with the defamation suit involving the 7 women who said, well, you lied about us lying, so now we're going to sue you, and other legal issues that Bill Cosby is facing. But this one is the most significant because this one specifically has to do with those sexual assault allegations, and he has now been criminally charged with that. The case, again, moving to trial, and the real big win, I think, for those women that you're talking about is if he was actually convicted. But this is the step that they were looking for. That's why Gloria Allred, who represents over 30 women, spoke to her last night, and she said, I'm here, as she mentioned, to follow this process. And she was very interested to see what the defense was going to say, what the prosecution was going to say, but ultimately she wanted to see whether or not this was going to take the next step to go to trial, and it is.
Okay. Our Jericka Duncan just right there at the steps of the courthouse. Thank you so much, Jericka.